Hello YouTube, this is the Satsu5 and I got a question on Instagram concerning why most Japanese swords are carried edge up on the belt, and European swords like this 1796 like cavalry saber, you can see the mountings on it are carried edge down. Now there's a couple things I want to mention. One, I used to be a real big Japanese blade fanboy. I'm not anymore. Nothing against the Japanese blades, but I'm just kind of rediscovering European blades. So this is something I'm a little bit knowledgeable at, but not an expert. Two, I'm not an expert. I've owned a few Kenjutsu DVDs, Tanto Jutsu DVDs. I've practiced a little bit of Tanto Jutsu. And I know a little bit about why some of the things are done, how they're done. So first off, I want to mention that not all Japanese blades will edge up when worn. There was a Japanese sword called the Tachi, I think is how you pronounce it, and it has very much the same mountings as this. Some people say it's a cavalry sword. I don't think there's a lot of evidence to support that, but it was a larger and more heavily carved sword that preceded the katana that we know, and it was mounted like that on the samurai. The samurai wore it, not necessarily in the belt, but mounted like this. But that's not the subject of this video, and I don't want to drop my brother's sword. That is, why would you have a edge up katana, wakizashi, or tanto? Well, the only way I can really answer this, or the only reason why I can really answer this, is because I've bought DVDs on Tanto Jutsu and Kenjutsu. There's no schools around me, but I know a couple of the techniques, and it has to do with Iaido Jutsu, or Iaido. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And basically that's the art of, basically drawing from a sitting position, or a quick draw. Is a quick draw art, so you can immediately get your blade out and cut at the same time. And as you can see, that's pretty much it right there, as far as my skills can do. You are able to draw the sword. This is a Colombian River Life Tohisho, and immediately cut with it. So it's a draw and cut in one motion. There's also a technique, if you're really close to your enemy, that you hit with the Kashira, which this is have a Kashira. This has a molded Kashira. You can see right there, that's the Japanese pommel fitting.
Do that one more time. Okay.
Right there. And that's basically what you use to pommel with. So I'm just using this because it's bigger. But you draw, you can hit with the Kashira and then finish your cut. And that's basically the technique that I'm basing this video on, is that that's the reason that Japanese samurai carried their swords the way that they did. It's for a faster, more efficient draw to kill technique. And that's pretty much the video. I wanted to, it's just a little bit difficult for me to describe in the typed world, but and there's also a technique where you can do the reverse draw as well. I'm not the most qualified person to answer this question, but I do know that Iaido was a big deal in studying Iaido Jutsu. Pretty much the art of drawing and cutting in one motion. And there was techniques where you would basically pull the sheath away from the sword to draw in a closed confined area. And that's it. I hope that answered your question. I'm Satsu5 and I'm out. I want to make one more point about why to carry edge up. This is the Satsu, Colombian River Life Satsu. I'm filming myself one-handed, operating the camera and the Tanto. And that is to actually hide your cut. See, if I want to point this to the side a little bit, if I draw from the side, that is a lot easier to spot and to block or counter cut against. If I draw from in front of me, it's a lot harder to perceive that threat and to do something about it. Now, you can clearly see that the blade is still perceivable. You can still perceive the blade coming out, but in a fast motion, that's a lot harder to pick up than something that's coming out from right here or from the sides. So I wanted to add that point. And again, I'm not a Japanese martial arts expert. I know just enough to get me into trouble. I'm a fan of James Williams. I don't think he's the best martial artist in the world as far as, well, let me say this. His techniques are valid just as Lynn Thompson's techniques are valid, just as Michael Janet's techniques are valid, but they fit different people. Some techniques are better for different people who have different things going on. So, like Michael Janich, his techniques are better for people, for civilians who can't carry big blades, and this is a relatively small blade, but if you can only carry an Endura or an Emerson, I think Michael Janet's techniques are very valid. If you can carry big espadas or buoys, I think Lynn Thompson's techniques are valid. And I think that James Williams' techniques are a little bit more geared towards the military than civilian self-defense, although they all work as military, or they'll both get the job done, but some techniques are better off for different applications and people than others. So that's what I'm going to say about that. That's why I don't necessarily practice James Williams techniques on a regular basis. I do like some of the techniques, and other techniques I don't like so much. But this is a lot easier to deal with. I mean, it's a lot more difficult to deal with than this. And of course, I can't draw this way that well because that's where my arm is. But edge up, it allows you to get the blade directly in front of you and to cut and draw at the same time and hit with the Kashira. So that's my explanation for why Japanese carry their blades edge up. So that's it. I'm Satsu5 and I'm out.